My mother is still wondering if she should accept me as a daughter.
Oh man.
And she's always regretting. I don't know how this happened to me.
Welcome to Building Blocks. I'm here with Neelam Makhijani, Director of ChildFund India. And before we get into any of this, I want to tell the viewers something a little bit different. Usually what we do is the red bricks are hard questions, the green bricks are easy questions. But Neelam here doesn't really have too much of a social media presence, so we couldn't find anything embarrassing about her. So the red bricks are going to be hard questions. They're going to be about ChildFund, how the world's changing. The green bricks are about finding something embarrassing about you. So I'm going to be asking you personal questions. You have to figure out something that makes you human, not the angel that you are on the internet.
Oh dear not. Oh dear not.
All right, so you want to go first?
Let me do the red.
Oh,
I don't
not
like.
ready for the embarrassing stuff, huh?
Not yet. Let me warm up.
All right. Well, this is not going to be easier. This is off the thing. Now, ChildFund does a lot of work with children in India, obviously.
Yes.
The government, they talk a lot about putting in place policies to help improve child malnutrition, this, that, everything else. But is that all talk, or is that actual policy that's being put in place?
You know, you'll be surprised that India is one country that has the most policies in place.
What are those policies effective?
Policies are there. Everything is in place, but it sticks at the paper level. The issue that we have is the implementation of the policies. How do you roll it out? How do you take it to the communities? How do you engage the communities with these policies?
Right.
And even if, you know, the bigger gap is that the people who these policies are made for, they don't know it exists.
Right, yeah.
So those are the gaps. And what ChildFund does is therefore supplement the implementation of the government based on what is in the policies, and then we do a lot of work with the communities to say what their rights are, what policies are there for them so they can access them.
Red or green? What are you going to go for?
Okay, again my turn.
Yeah.
I'll go for green now. That was really serious answer I gave you. So it's on policy, I'm going to go green.
So
Tricky
green.
one. Okay.
We talked a little bit off camera. You like traveling, you've lived in a lot of the world. And you've done this serious stuff for a long time. You were a journalist and fundraiser, and now you're in charge of ChildFund in India. What do you do in your time off? How does Neelam Makhijani chill out? How do you relax?
I chill out. I have a dog. That's my therapy. Her name is Chocolate. So that's my best. It's a Shih Tzu. It's a gorgeous little Shih Tzu. She's the love of my life. And other than that, of course, I mean, I do the usual things. I break my bank on weekends.
Now we're getting closer to embarrassing.
I tell you, I have to kick myself very so often. I'm like, what were you thinking?
Oh, I'm going to get that story.
Yeah. Lots of that kicking happens on the weekends. I'll go for green again. I'm just
dangerous.
I'm going to try this one.
All right. So, breaking the bank on weekends.
Oh, well, yes.
You got to have one embarrassing story. Bangalore's full of pubs.
But the only thing is I don't get arrested yet.
All right. Have you ever been close to getting arrested?
No, fortunately no. There becomes a time when I say, like I said, I kick myself a lot. So then I'll say no, and I have very good friends. And I have a sister who's also very, very close. I think they are my speed breakers and they bring balance to my life. Now you're putting me in a very tricky situation, so I'll take a red now.
All right, red. Get you a hard question.
Yeah, find one.
Now your website, the ChildFund India website, has some pretty big numbers on there. One of the numbers I saw was that you claim to affect the lives of 2.5 million children every year. What does that mean? Because if you've been in business for 4 years, you're telling me you've affected 10 million children already?
Because we have very wide range of interventions from nutrition, education, livelihood, and like I said, we build awareness of communities to strengthen them. The number really means that we have touched the lives of so many children, teachers, their caregivers, because for example, we have a very, very important program called Positive Parenting.
Okay.
And we work in very rural parts of the country, as you know. And it is about what makes positive parenting, you know. So how do we train? We work with parents. So that 2.5 million involves all our people that we touch lives of. So whether it is a parent who's given just birth to a child, and what is the immunization, everything, the whole cycle of it.
Knowing what
now
you're
my
doing to
turn.
something, you have no idea what you're doing. Let's see.
I'm doing another red now because not because I want a difficult question, but I think it's the safest bet. I think.
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
You made a statement a little bit earlier, one of the earlier hard questions, of how you guys try to be the catalyst, the enablers, connecting, creating structural solutions.
Correct.
So I got to ask you, all the other NGOs you've worked with in India, that we've seen in India, how many of them are working at that level? How many of them are just working at papering over the crack?
See, our work largely depends on the resources that we have.
Okay.
A lot of that. So that has always been my appeal, and I plead with all our corporate supporters and the government that when they invest in a program, it should be long term. So if some NGOs who don't, is because we run out of resources at times. Now ChildFund is unique in that, because wherever we work, we stay there for at least 18 years. So we have a long-term intervention. We don't walk in and walk out.
Right.
Now we are in a very privileged place, I must say. Not all organizations have the resources to be, work for such long-term. But because we create a multi-stakeholder portfolio, so we can continue. But I think NGOs, it's true, our resources are limited. But I think if we all get together also and be strategic, we can make long-term impact.
All right.
It's my turn now.
Yeah.
I'm going on a green. I think I gave you many serious answers. Oh, is that one that I moved?
If you go lower, yeah.
Yeah, a bit lower. I'm going to
Really, the higher you go, the more unstable
I
it becomes.
know. Now I think we are at a brim.
Okay.
Okay.
So green, coming back to the personal, something embarrassing. It's gonna happen. Something's gonna come up. Let's go back to the younger version of you.
Oh dear.
15-year-old, 20-year-old, younger.
Younger. Okay. All right. Okay. Now.
All right. 15-year-old, 20-year-old version of you.
Oh, terrible.
How were you to your peers?
My mother
were you the
was-
bully? Were you the?
I'm not a bully. I'm a rebel.
Ah.
My mother is still wondering if she should accept me as a daughter.
Oh man.
And she's always regretting. I don't know how this happened to me. She says that to everybody.
What did you do that's so
I've
wrong?
been a rebel. I just, there are times when you go to parents and say, I want to do this. So I would go and say, I want to do this. And my mother will say, no, you cannot. So my answer always was, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. So, I've started like that. I went to US all by myself and I was barely 20. So it was all that rebel. But I have always had some clarity that I'm meant for something
More.
different and more. And so I think I've stuck to my own ambitions on that and aspirations. So I don't naturally walk the path. I am happy to take risks and then explore.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
All
like
right.
I said, my mother is very open to disowning me at any point.
All right. So what's the next risk you're gonna take?
Now I think we are really at a very high risk.
Oh, you've become fully South Indian now with the IO and everything.
Yeah, I know. I've been here 4 years, man. I don't know. It's very hard. I'm going to take.
Oh,
try
it's getting
this.
ready to fall. Oh,
I think so.
Okay,
Oh,
hard
you worked it
question.
out. Well, if it falls, it's not going to be me.
he's setting me up. ChildFund has got a program called Khilta Bachpan, I think that's how you say it, which basically introduces a lot of kids to art in form of dance, theatre, painting, whatever. Now, I just want to ask you something. To kids at that level, because you work with a lot of underprivileged kids, right? Kids from families that barely make it, who don't have access to stuff that they should have access to as a basic human right.
Sure.
Now, is it fair to these kids to go to them and introduce them to a world that they have a pretty minuscule chance of ever entering, instead of teaching them skills that could get them a salaried job when they turn 18, 20, 25?
See, I would, like I said, I'm very aspirational myself. I would like every child to dream.
Okay.
And I don't think, just because you don't have access to something, I don't think it's fair to say you just stay mediocre and you do the basics. Let me finish. So for us, for ChildFund, the introduction of art was, of course, to open up their minds and to introduce them what's out there. Not to say this is a livelihood. It's not about a job or livelihood. For us, child protection is a very, very important foundation of everything we do. and more so in times that we are today. I mean, child abuse, the exploitation is just never been this bad before, ever.
Okay.
So for us to introduce art as a part of our program, design is to enable them to express better, to be able to influence them to express better and to empower them. Now, and also there are children who go through difficult, very, very difficult times that we have not even imagined. We are so privileged. Art can be a therapy, art can be a mode of expression. If a child is going through abuse or exploitation, we have seen art as a means that they can actually express themselves. They may not have the courage to speak up, but they can express it through. So we are using art not only to see that as a livelihood option, but more as to safeguard them to be able to express them. I think I'm taking a huge risk, but I will take it. Oh, look then. I told you, I'm not dropping it. You will have to do it.
Ultra competitive. Everyone that comes on this show. Okay, green block.
Reputation, man. Oh.
Can't walk back into ChildFund having lost a game of Jenga.
Oh, I know. And that too, a baby game.
So, green block. I mean, a simple one. Do you watch any sports? Do you play any sports?
I am in very, very ardent. I love badminton and I still play. In my school, I come from Frank Anthony in Delhi.
Okay.
Sports was a very big part of my growing up in Frank Anthony, and I remember General Manik Shaw used to be our chief guest. I was the fastest runner in my school in the relays as well. So I started playing badminton in school and I still continue to do that. But as and when I get the time. It's not regular, but I love badminton.
So then question is simple. Badminton or athletics?
Now badminton. I'm too old for athletics.
But, just generally.
Badminton.
Badminton? Always?
Anytime.
Oh, okay.
Anytime. I can challenge you as well.
Because we haven't played in 10
We
years.
have a backyard in our offices and we play there in the evenings after work.
I think we've just found out why you joined ChildFund.
Possibly. That was benefits.
Red, green?
It's a tricky one, but I'll do it. Because you want me to drop
No,
it.
I don't want you. I can ask you questions all day.
No, you cannot. You said you ran out. I'm going to honor your wish and let it go.
Impressive. Impressive.
Go on.
Alright, last question.
Strategic.
If you were stuck on an island and you could only take one book, what book do you take?
Tricky one. Just a book with speeches on it. I love reading those. I've been reading a book recently. I bought one at the airport. But it was the famous speeches. I find very inspired.
Just like a transcript of the
Yeah,
speeches?
just transcripts of certain speeches. It has Clinton and Mandela's. But I get inspired because I think it just helps me again saying, well, I could speak like that too at one moment. So those are my inspiration moments, but then I can do thrillers as well. I love thrillers. So I would go for John Grisham anytime. But just reading popular speeches I enjoy. It's inspirational for me.
See, I would just take a book about how to build a boat. Seems
No,
like the
see,
better
I
answer.
don't need to. I'm doing it well. But yeah, John Grisham is another favorite.
What? So, by my own convoluted rules, I have to take a green one, and I can't find any green ones.
Well, now you need to really get it over with.
Oh, you.
No. I told you.